All right, so lesson 26, we are going to now be dividing by a whole number. Our goal is I will be able to divide a unit fraction by a whole number. Yeehaw! So yesterday we did the flip side. We had a whole number and we divided by a fraction. Today we're turning it around and we're dividing by a whole number. So let's start out super simple. Alex gives some pans of brownies to his 3 friends to share equally. So remember, 3 friends. That's the important information here, okay? Let me underline it. All right, if he has 3 pans of brownies, how many pans of brownies did each friend get? So he has 3 friends, and he has 3 pans. Look at that. It's a perfect number, and each person will get 1 pan. It's a lot of brownies. All right, so that's the context we're thinking of. Okay, so instead now, he still has 3 friends, but instead of 3 pans, now he only has 1 pan, right? So our division sentence, our division sentence is going to start out with 1 because that's what he has. And then we're going to divide it by 3, okay? So I have 1 pan, 3 friends, each one, if you want to think about let me make a model real quick, tape diagram. Woo! All right, so he has 1 pan, 3 friends, right? So he's going to actually divide it into thirds, right? And each friend is going to get 1. That's my shading, all right? So each friend is going to get 1 out of 3, right? So a third of the pan, okay? Let's go on to... no, we're not going to do this. All right, let's go on to this one. Now, Alex has a half a pan. All right, so we started with 3 pans, then we went to 1 pan. Now he only has a half a pan. So how much of the pan will each of his friends get? Okay, so before we even start solving, I want you to think about this. Now that he only has a half a pan instead of a whole pan, will each friend get more than 1/3 of a pan or less than 1/3 of a pan? All right, so hopefully you were thinking they will get less than 1/3 of a pan, okay? So we're going to show this, of course, in a tape diagram. So I already have this here, okay? What I'm showing here is half the pan, right? So here's a whole pan. But we divided it into 2 because we're only going to talk about half of the pan. So I'm going to go ahead and shade that. All right. So there's half the pan. But we're not done yet because he still has 3 friends that he has to share with. So now we're going to divide them into thirds. All right. So if we do it on this side, we need to do it on the other side. Right? So here we go, and 1 friend, I'm going to change the color here, 1 friend is going to get 1 of them. So what is double shaded? 1 out of 6. All right, so our division sentence is going to look like he has a half a pan, right, and he has to divide it into 3 parts. All right, and we'll end up with 1/6. All right, so that's the thinking behind dividing a fraction by a whole number. Yeah, there we go, 6. All right, so tape diagrams definitely are going to help you on this. So let's go to our next problem. So you're going to go ahead and actually solve this. So what if Alex only has 1/3 of a pan to share with his 3 friends? All right, so you're going to go ahead, you can pause here, you can solve it and put it on the quiz later, okay? So yesterday, our quotients were getting bigger as our units got smaller. But today, right, our quotients are actually getting smaller, okay? Hopefully you noticed that. All right, so let's look at this problem. 1/5 divided by 2, okay? So we're going to show a tape diagram, of course. All right. I'm going to show 1/5. All right, once again, this is our whole. All right, I'm going to show 1/5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and shade in 1 because we're talking about 1/5. All right, so now I need to divide each of them into 2, right? Because it's like I have 1/5 of a pan divided by 2 friends, right? So I'm going to divide each of these into halves. All right, so I just shaded in, or I shaded in my 1/5, all right, and I divided each one into halves because I have 2 friends. So my 1/5 is here, and I have to divide it into half. So one of my friends is only going to get half of that, which is only going to be this. All right, so to figure out what all of this is, I have 10 altogether and only 1 of that, so 1/10. All right, so we're going to go ahead and check our work, right? So our answer was 1/10, all right, and we need to multiply it by our divisor. Our divisor was 2, all right, and we should end up with 1/5. So 1 times 2 is 2 over 10, and if you reduce that, if you simplify that, you're going to get 1/5. So we know that we are correct. All right, last problem here. If Yurik pours 1/2 liter of water into 4 bottles, putting an equal amount in each, how many liters of water will be in each bottle? Okay, important parts. 1/2 liter, 4 bottles, and this is also extremely important, equal amount. All right, so we're going to draw a tape diagram. Here we go. All right, so he only has 1/2 liter, so that's what I'm going to show. All right, there's 1 liter, and I'm going to divide it into half. So I'm going to highlight half of it. Okay, so now he has 4 bottles. So now I have to show those 4 bottles. All right, there's 1, there's 2, there's 3 and 4. Got to do it to the other side as well. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so before we solve, okay, we need to make sure, and we need to double highlight, right? So one of those bottles, oh, that's not the highlighter. One of those bottles is going to be here, all right? So now I'm going to look at my double shaded. Now it's green. Ugh. All right, so I have 1 out of 8. Whoa. All right, so my division sentence looks like 1/2 divided by 4, and we get 1/8. All right, let's go ahead and check our answer. We're going to check it with multiplication. So 1/8 times 4, right? So our quotient multiplied by our divisor, all right, should give us 1/2. So let's see, 1 times 4, 4 over 8. If I reduce this, if I simplify, I'm going to get 1/2, and I know